everybody. I'm Lynn Petrak, Senior Editor at Progressive Grocer, and welcome to Top Women in Grocery. It's a podcast focused on the trends, topics, and interests that move women forward in our industry. We spotlight extraordinary women with interesting lives who have successful careers and give back to their workplaces, their communities, and other parts of their lives and make a positive overall impact. And today we have a double feature. We're talking to two amazing top women in grocery, Marianne Kowalski and Kris Christiansen of Kowalski's Markets in the Twin Cities. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Thank you so much. And a little bit more about this amazing mother-daughter duo. Marianne founded Kowalski with her late husband, Jim, and is the owner of Kowalski's Markets. She and Jim started the business in 1983 when they bought a former Red Owl country store and put their own touch on the grocery experience. They steadily expanded throughout the years, focusing on elevated features like restaurant concepts, department store quality gift shops, and meal solutions. Later, Kowalski's added a central facility that houses a central bakery, commissary kitchen, and meat production facility. Mary is at the forefront of the grocery industry and constantly works to improve it through her role at trade organizations and initiatives. Among other activities in the industry and in her civic community, she chairs Kowalski's for Kids Foundation, a nonprofit group that raises money to help families and children at risk. Kris Christiansen is the 2023 Top Women in Grocery Award winner from Progressive Grocer.
Thank you for that. Yeah, it's exciting.
She's in the senior level category, and she's been a key part of Kowalski's Market since its inception. After more than 2 decades of training and education, she earned the position of Chief Operating Officer and since moved over to CEO. She works daily with COO, CMO, and VP of Operations to ensure that all aspects of the company run smoothly. And she also sits on the boards of Kowalski's for Kids. So welcome, both of you.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You.
Hello.
Lynn, thanks for having us.
Oh, absolutely. We were talking earlier about how I was able to visit your stores a couple weeks ago, and I timed it really well because you just had your 40th anniversary.
Right. That's right. Amazing.
So tell us a little bit, how did you celebrate that? I think you had some in-store events, and how did that go? And how did you celebrate that with your customers?
Well, it really was about the customers and the employees. Without them, we wouldn't be celebrating a 40th anniversary. So that was key to me, that's really what it was about, was a thank you. So that's what our commercial was, our marketing was. It was kind of telling the story, certainly, and then celebrating Red Owl, which was our roots. And it's a very iconic symbol in the Twin Cities market and Upper Midwest, actually. And so to me, that's where I shopped growing up as a kid. That's where we ended up buying the store from Red Owl. The Red Owl stayed up in the sky, lit up for all the kids that would come home and say, "We're almost home. There's the owl." So it was very iconic. And to this day, I wonder if we should have taken it down, but we did. And then, so that was a throwback to the old days, which is where Jim and I really started. So, and because it's so popular in the Twin Cities, and a lot of our stores were Red Owls that we eventually bought. So, we sold T-shirts and sweatshirts with the Red Owl logo. We sold out. So, I think that we had so many things. Yeah, we had so many things going on in the stores, and I was a little leery about this type of celebration we were putting on, that people would understand it was about them and a little about us, but mostly about them. And so, but I was pleasantly surprised when we went in, and it was very busy, and I got to talk to a lot of old customers. And Kris and I tried to make 11 stores in 6 hours, and we were close.
Close. Lynn, so it was such a fun day. I mean, like she's alluding to it, we were so energized. We didn't know what to expect in the stores, but they were just packed. And that is what we wanted. We wanted the customers to come. So we had, obviously, glorified demos. I mean, we just had food experiences everywhere. And then we had like a throwback 40% off coupon sheet. Like, we haven't done a coupon sheet or anything like that for 25 years. And so we had that for all of our high-end products, our Kowalski's products. And then we had bands, and we had local celebrities, and we had, face painting for kids, and we had barbecues outside and food trucks. So we just threw it all out there. And we've been planning for a few months for this, all of our staff. So everybody was excited to see. And we lucked out because in Minnesota at the end of September, it was like 80 and sunny. So
I know.
It was perfect weather day for all of
amazing.
this to happen.
Yeah.
So we were grateful for that.
Oh, it's amazing.
And on
It
a
was
Saturday. And yeah, when I was in the store, I saw it explained what I think there was a little sign maybe in the gift shop that explained a little bit about what Red Owl was and what it means. So
Yeah.
I
Yes.
love that you incorporated that as well.
Yes, yeah, very important.
I really think that's the reason half of the people came out. It was
Yeah.
quite extraordinary. Like she alluded to, all the stuff sold out, and everybody had a Red Owl story from when they were younger and they grew up. And
they came in old Red Owl
And they're-
T-shirts that they had at their homes.
yeah, and they brought us a lot of old Red Owl stuff.
Yes.
You probably
We
will.
have
Yeah.
It was very
sweet.
cool.
It's
It
very
was very
sweet.
cool.
Yeah.
And the employees were
Mm.
so excited and
Mhm.
thrilled to be a part of it. So they were absolutely amazing. And we highlighted some of the 39, 40 term employees through the website and other places. So to be able to thank them.
I was going to ask you that. I bet you have employees who were there with you from the get-go when you and Jim started. And did you bring over some from Red Owl too? And people who have that kind of longevity?
I can't remember, to tell you the truth. In
Yeah.
1983, a few people stayed, of course, but
Mhm.
the whole front end was full of our daughter, Kris, who was 16 years old. And so she and all her friends were the front end cashiers and people like that. So, that was, yeah. But long term, very, very many,
Lots of
20,
long
30, 39 years.
Lots of second generation too. So
Yes.
so what they bought, the Grand Avenue store was our first store. And so they pretty much kept everyone, I believe, that was in that store, the store manager that was running it at the time. And
Yes.
so he ended up working through the rest of his career with us, and his wife came on board and daughters. So we have a lot of generations, because we're 40 years old, now we have grandkids coming up through the ranks in leadership positions. It's so much fun.
I love
Yes.
that.
And a lot of marriages.
Yeah, lots of marriages
yeah,
happen.
okay.
Yeah.
Well, yes, because
Really?
the one I met was married to, I think that maybe the cheesemonger at
Yeah,
the cheese expert.
yes.
Yeah, one of your store assistant store managers or store.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
We have lots of couples.
I love
Yeah.
it. Well, and that's a testament to our industry. We have so much longevity in a lot of stores and a lot of our industry, but that's really a testament to what you have built in your stores over the years to have that kind of longevity, and that really, it's family owned, but it's family in another sense too with your.
Yes, very
For
much
sure.
so.
Yep.
Very much so.
And so,
Yeah.
Mary, with this kind of legacy that you've had, what are some of the biggest changes that you've seen since you and Jim started the business, and how women in this industry have become leaders? Maybe it wasn't always the case in 1983. Things were starting to change then, but how have they really changed?
Well, the sophistication of the consumer has changed dramatically. They're much more knowledgeable about food, where it comes from. Things they want are totally changed. They want recipes. They want high quality. So that has been a huge change from when we started. And then the patterns have changed. Shopping patterns have changed. It used to be once a week, fill your cart. Now it's 2, 3, 4, 5 times a week.
Yeah, me
So that,
Yeah.
yes, that's really changed. And then, there's smaller orders, and needs have changed, I think. And so the grocery aisles aren't as busy as they were in 1983. Grocery aisles were very full, and they are not so full anymore. So that helped with the decision of, we need to change the grocery aisles, and we need to bring in some really high quality, different,
Specialty.
healthy specialty products in those categories.
Mhm.
And it sort of started our private label program in a sense, because we couldn't find what we wanted. So let's make it and put it there. So like our popcorn and our peanuts and the list goes on and on and on.
But that's also where all the local products come in play too. We can't, obviously no business person can think of everything. So you go outside yourself and you look around for people that are doing creative and wonderful things. And I'm sure we'll talk about this at some point, but the fact of how committed we are to local entrepreneurs and local products, and being the size that we are, it's a perfect incubator, or it's a perfect test site for people when they're just starting out. So we have held hands along many, many journeys. Some people were right there ready to go with everything. Some people didn't really know what a UPC is or how do I get one and things like that, but their products were amazing. So it just helps us with our selection, variety, and excitement, just to tap into that local talent. We started that a long time ago, Lynn, and we're just keep exploding it.
Well,
Right.
That
consumers
whole
love
fun.
it. Like there's that whole storytelling aspect. I mean, we're all consumers too, in addition to, the roles we play in our industry. But, we pick things up, we look at them. That's cool. We'll try it. So, I mean, it really suits everybody's interests too.
It does. It does. And I think that, because we taste everything and we love good food. And so we're all different kind of foodies in this company. I mean, there's, gourmet foodies, and I'm a chocolate foodie, and Kris is, like good food foodie. And so there's,
I like that.
to get back to the rest of your question, I think just to finish it is that, there's been a massive growth in the Twin Cities of grocers. So we never had Hy-Vees, Aldi's, Trader Joe's, Whole Foods, so I think that that's changed dramatically. So we had to change with it. And we did that. And not knowing if it would work, but we went upscale. We got the best in the industry to upscale all of our perishable departments, things like that. We brought in gifts to differentiate ourselves from other people. So I think that has made a difference. And then food to go and prepared foods is another thing that's changed dramatically.
And that's kind of evident throughout the store. When you do a store walk, you can see all those literal points of differentiation.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And women in the industry didn't exist, basically.
Okay.
In 1983, it was all run by men, and so that was a challenge for me as a partner, but worked through it. And I just think that there's so many more women in leadership and second generation women taking over family independent businesses than I've ever seen before, as long as I've been in here. And so we have several women executives, which we did not have then. And we probably had one or two. And now we have, at least 8 to 10 women executives in the company, including store managers, directors of departments, those kind of things. So, and then the biggest thing really is second generation women. It's amazing what's happening. So I'm really happy to see it, and the clientele has changed so much. I mean, Kris and I are always, there's young men working in the delis. That never happened.
Yep.
And there's also
50% of our shoppers are
men,
guys.
guys.
I mean, it's amazing. They're coming in with their carts and they're filling it up and they're tasting everything. And so that's different for sure.
So that has changed.
Mm-hmm.
You got a front row seat to all of that. You do those changes.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's pretty cool.
Yes.
And you talk about second generation of women. And Kris, of course, is our top Women in Grocery Award winner this year. Your entry caught our eye because you really are hands-on. You guys mentioned that you taste every recipe, and you do, and you regularly meet with other leaders. So why is that hands-on so important to you as your family legacy and also as CEO?
Well, I honestly don't know how you would do it any other way if you're an acting CEO. So we are a small company. We still see ourselves as small, high touch company. So my mom and I are in the stores all the time. But in my role, I just feel like I have to have a direct pulse on every single department. That's what's happening there. Where's the innovation? Where's the creativity? How are our standards being met? How is our merchandising? How are the people doing that execute this every day? What is their role? What do they need? So we have monthly strategy meetings for every single department, and we obviously have a director. And in some instances, we even have a merchandiser, which is kind of new for us. So it's a little extra level. We don't love all the layers, but we try to keep it, close knit. Yeah. So in those meetings, those are usually 3 hours long, most likely, sometimes anywhere from 2 to 4 hours. And we strategize about all the things that I mentioned. So there's a lot of tasting. There's a lot of pull products off the shelf and like as a consumer, bring it into the meeting. Let's cook it off like somebody who just brought it home. We taste it. We make sure that it's, again, staying to our standards. We bring in recipes at that point. So we have a central bakery and a central kitchen. So for instance, in the bakery department, we'll sit and strategize, like, what's a new cookie? Or I found a cookie when I went to visit my daughter in Bozeman, Montana, where she's going to school. And we went to this little coffee shop and they had like a walnut-based cookie with a brown butter frosting. And I fell in love with it. So then I bring that to bakery strategy and just explain it like that. And then our bakers go off and produce it and bring it back to the next meeting and we all taste it. So it's just a constant flow like that of of, where are we going? What do we have going right now? And I can't imagine leading any other way than being that in connection with all the products and the people.
Well, that sounds like a little bit of fun too.
I love it. I love it. So some days you just flip flop, like you go from talking about gift and clothing and candles, and then all of a sudden the next meeting is you're talking about T-bones, and you have to understand about, the chicken processing, and then you move on to bakery and talk about donuts. But that's what's great about it. I love it.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, that's a good segue for donuts, because when I was in the store, I think, Mary, someone had said in your bakery department, maybe it was maple sticks. It was something that you had when you were a kid that you loved, that you have in there. We have your family recipes, maybe for potato salad. So tell me a bit, like, how did you incorporate your actual family in there? And how cool is that to see things kind of carried on in the store and enjoyed by others?
Right. Well, I mean, the maple stick is a story that I was living in the neighborhood. That bakery, Old Dutch Bakery it was called, was making maple sticks. And so it was a great bakery. I lived around the corner from it. And to this day, I can't believe it, but we ended up buying that bakery because we couldn't get the quality we wanted in for those kind of things. So we bought that. And with that came the maple sticks. So they were the originator. But it's just one of my favorite things. And I kept talking about them all the time. So all of a sudden became my family favorite. So it really truly was. Yeah. And so I think that the Uncle or Grandma Betty's chip dip is what we ate at every party at the Kowalski side of the family. And everybody loved it. And it wasn't, you couldn't buy anything like it. So we said, let's try to create it. Mm-hmm. And so that's how that happened. And, in bigger batches, how does it still stay the same as, a family making it at home? Same thing happened with Aunt Nettie's potato salad. That was Jim's aunt. And she created this recipe for potato salad, became very popular in her neighborhood where else she worked besides here at our stores. But anyway, and it became one of our best sellers, and it's still there today. So that's 37 years ago that got created. And so, that's just a couple of examples of my buttercream from my mom, buttercream frosting, and her fudge that we just have to put outside in the winter to harden. And, so standards, they're, homemade is hard to recreate, but I believe we've done it in so many categories.
Again, differentiates you. And Jim's legacy is alive through a lot of the things that you do, right? And how are you going to kind of keep that going? It's after you've marked this milestone and moving ahead.
Yeah, well, his legacy is as strong as it ever was. As if he was here. I mean, seriously, he touched so many lives, and he had such an impact on people that there's still stories being told, still people coming up and tearing up about Jim, missing Jim. And so I don't know, he just his humanness and his candor and his humor touched so many people and those customers are so loyal to us. And so loyalty to us is almost number one. So I think that his it just lives, and we don't even have to do anything. It's just alive. It's alive.
I love that. And you can see, and this past event, really probably brought that out for you, just seeing that firsthand.
Huge.
We really did. We honored him in a big way during this event that we hadn't done. I mean, it has been 10 years. And as you can imagine, it took us a long time to even sort of to get ourselves there. But now, so this was a perfect time to bring him back up in front of everybody's minds. There's plaques and all of with stories and pictures and things like that in all of our stores now that will stay in the entryways. And so, but yeah, he was absolutely brilliant, but he was humble about it. So I think that combo, he used to say that, success takes way more courage than brains. So he was kind of an every man or woman kind of person, like not too intellectual, not above anybody else, just sort of, and he would teach people to believe in their own capacity and their own talent, and to not shy away because you're intimidated by someone else. You have something to bring, so bring it, and I think that gave a lot of people courage to do what they wanted to do.
Well, and that's culture.
Really,
We talk about culture as a buzzword right now, but that's culture before people were talking about what culture was, right? I mean, it's ingrained in what you do.
100%. Yes.
yeah, it really was. And that was the scary part of passing it on to the next generation. How do you pass on a culture? You don't have a language. You're sort of considered mom and pop. You fix everything when somebody has a problem. So you're not really teaching anybody anything. You're just, yeah. So I think that brought us to civic organizing, which is a huge piece of
Right.
our success as far as I'm concerned. So I think that we originally got involved because of a succession plan. And, how do we do that? Financially, you can say, I'll set it up legally, that's done. But how do you pass on a culture? So that brought us to civic organizing. And that's been an amazing, I think, gift to Kris in many ways. So we now have a language, we have an infrastructure built, we have, everybody's doing it. So the loss of one person isn't going to change it, So.
Yeah. And it sounds like you carry that through, and we touched about your local suppliers, and you foster kind of that whole spirit through that as well. And through the foundation that you're involved with. Tell us a little bit about the foundation.
Yes, well, that started out to be because Jim was such an avid golfer. More than avid, I don't know what a bigger word than avid is, but
It would be that.
it would be that. Obsessed.
Golf
But
and
anyway,
yeah.
yes. And, most of our friends were, I was a golfer, and we'd go to charity tournaments. Jim and I would go to charity tournaments. He'd play in some pro-am tournaments and things like that. And so we kind of got together with one of our friends and said, we should do a golf tournament. Let's just try it and see what happens. So we started it, made about $3,000. This year we made $180,000.
Wow.
In one day.
I would
So
say.
it's really a public foundation, but with a private side. So we don't take donations from anyone else. That one event makes us able now, after 30 years, to give away $100,000 to 2 different charities for 3 years. So the charities are chosen based on families and children. And so, I think we've given over, I don't know, maybe $3 million, $4 million over the time. So, we don't have, it's just that one day event. That
And then
we're
you
able
choose
to-
different charities each year. Or do they go to some of the similar ones?
Well, we pick one charity, and that's for 3 years. So
Okay.
they can budget that money in.
Yeah.
So, it's not a one-time deal. It's over 3 years, $100,000 for 3 years. We pick 2 of those every 3 years. And then we have some offshoots. These are all basically local, except for Hazelden, which Jim was such a big, Hazelden Betty Ford. He was on our board and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and it's in your backyard, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
So,
exactly.
But most of them are all local charities, Twin Cities based. And that's really what the mission was about. The grassroots organizations that don't get a lot of federal, state, local money. So it's been an absolute joy.
And that's absolutely rewarding. And it sounds like, go ahead. Sorry.
And it's all supported by our vendors.
Yeah.
So we have no overhead. When no one's paid.
Yep.
And the vendors are the ones that play that day. And then they invite some of our employees to play on their team. So it's like a big family after all this time.
I bet. And,
I know everybody, and so does Kris, and so do a lot of our people. And so it's really all our vendors that actually make that happen.
And even some of the new ones, that you might be working with too.
Oh, for sure.
Well, right. I mean, it's sold out every year now, Lynn. So people are trying to get in it, and so that's a test. We're always amazed by that. I mean, because they have to shell out money to get in there. I mean, I think we're relatively low price for entry fees compared to some tournaments, but they still have to pay to get in. And so the fact that they want us keep coming every year.
Yeah, we have a waiting list.
And spending their money. Yeah. So it's very rewarding. And I think it is for them too.
Yeah, it sounds
we have a live auction, silent auction, those kind of things. But most of the center plate is paid for by vendors. So if we have a chicken or a steak, the vendors donate that. So that's why it can be as successful as it is, because of our partners.
And that brings everything full circle. And are you kind of in expansion mode too? I heard, there's a couple, one store in the works is maybe 2. So give us the story on that.
Yes. So there is two in the works, and they happen to be in malls, which is not something that we sat down and said, we want to be in some shopping malls. I mean, we like to shop in shopping malls, but so really it came down to, Lynn, there's the Edina is a city that we've always wanted to be in. So we've been looking over the last couple decades of a good spot there and just hadn't really landed on anything. Well, then all of a sudden, a major player closed that was in
which is
a mall.
in those malls. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's happening a lot. Yeah. And so we ended up saying, oh, well, here's our Edina spot. And so we're really excited about that. They're in the midst of getting it ready for us to take it over to start doing the inside work, interior work. So our plan is to open at the end of April next year.
Okay.
There. And then what's that?
I'll have to come back.
And then we're working on another mall location in the Ridgedale market, which is over in Minnetonka, on the edge of Minnetonka, which is another area that we wanted to be in for a long time. And so we're just at the finish line of signing off on that deal right now, but that will most likely happen. And that will just follow 6 months later, most likely.
Okay, that's exciting.
Close to that. Yeah.
Very.
I mean,
we're glad we have the second generation here. I'll tell you.
It's a lot of hours.
I know.
It's a lot of hours plugged in.
Yes.
So we are looking forward to that, going into those communities and getting to know people and lots of opportunities for our up and comers and our next generation for leadership roles.
Maybe the third generation, right? Are you going to bring? Maybe it's time for.
No doubt. Yep, that's exciting.
That's an exciting time.
It is. So, yeah.
And one of the other things, before I let you go, one of the last things I wanted to ask is, where are your favorite parts to shop in your own stores? I mean, it sounds like you get around to all 11 of them a lot. So what are some things that are in your cart or places that you like to go? Maybe it's a gift shop. I don't know.
Yeah, we were talking about this. And first, someone asked me along the way, what's your favorite store of all the stores? And I thought, that's like
kids. You love them all.
Who's your favorite kid? Right. I'm not going to say that. They all have things I love, right? But as far as when I'm shopping, I gift and florals, right? You run right into it when you first come in. So I'm always buying something, some kind of sweater or, some kind of who knows what. But I get through there. And then, it's going to be so cliche, but I buy something from every department. I mean, I do buy our ready to go meals a lot because I hate to even admit this publicly, but I am not a good cook. But then that drives our meal program because I have to actually use it. Like I say, to buy it. My foodie claim to fame is that I know good food when I taste it. So there you go. So that's it. But I love shopping at stores. It's so much fun.
Yeah, and I guess I would just say that it's the feeling when I walk in. That's what we created. That's what we wanted to create. Mm-hmm. We were fairly successful at that, I think. And so that's why it's such a hard question, because I walk in, I go, oh.
Like when you get back from Florida after
a couple months season. Yeah, I just go, oh my God, I'm so glad to be home. and it's just an experience that you feel. It's you see neighbors talking to neighbors in the aisle. It's beautiful, because that's our standard. And so it's colorful. It's the fresh product. It's, I can't name one because
you shop it all.
Yeah.
You shop it all.
I shop it all.
I do. Because we're consumers.
Yes.
We're owners, but we're consumers. Mm-hmm. So if it doesn't taste good to me, it's not going to stay there. And the same with Kris and our other executives. And we're constantly picking up fruit and we're constantly checking those kind of things. So it's just a feeling I get when I walk in that like it's not even mine. I just walk in and go, wow, look what they did.
Isn't that great? And you can feel that way after 40 years and after everything you've done, you can walk in there and feel that way. What an amazing thing.
Yeah, I'm so grateful and thankful to all the years and changes and ups and downs and failures and successes. And, it just made this be so special to me, 40 years, but especially Jim's gone 10 years this year. Mm-hmm. So it was just the perfect timing.
It is. And shoppers love the experience and supporting independent operators and independent grocers. Consumers love that too. And it sounds like you certainly have that with loyal followers.
Right. Yeah. And our partners that were still, like Salad Girl, she's national now. She started, I don't know if you're familiar with Salad Girl dressings or any of that.
She started with you. Okay.
Yes. We hand walked her through the process.
Okay.
There's a neighbor that lives next to another neighbor that does our tiramisu.
Oh, I love those kind of stories.
So that's what I see when I go in. I said, oh, that's hers, and that's Mary Beth's, and
that's a lot of pride. That's a lot of pride.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yep.
Shepherding.
All of these principles will continue on into the future. We're looking forward to it.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a great conversation, and I just enjoyed talking to you so much. And congrats again, Kris, on your award. And
thanks, Lynn.
Congrats to you and Mary on your anniversary.
Thank you. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, thanks again for having us.
We appreciate it.
Okay, and I'll make sure I get up there next spring to check out.
Good. Yeah. Let us know.
I want to meet you. We want to get together.
Yes, absolutely. I'd love that. And for more information, everybody, on our Top Women in Grocery podcast, you can visit progressivegrocer.com/podcast. And you can subscribe to the series wherever you listen to podcasts on Apple, Google, and Spotify. And if you have an idea for a TWIG podcast topic, we want to hear from you. So you can email me at lptrack@ensembleiq.com. See you next time. And thanks again for listening and watching.